When we sit down to fulfill a writing assignment, we often find ourselves paralyzed because we're not sure what to do. This course is walking us through the processes that we have to undergo in order to write, and for this particular assignment, to write a rhetorical analysis. So let's just review the process. The first step is always to make sure that we understand what it is we're being asked to do. So please reread the rhetorical analysis essay assignment in week 2 and be sure to email me if you have any questions. Be sure to choose an article that you want to analyze because you're interested in it from the list on the assignment sheet. Now, if you've already identified an argument topic you'd like to work on and you have an article in mind, please send me a link and let me review it and get that approved so that you can begin your work. Reread the article and begin a deep analysis of the argument and its rhetorical structure and arrive at an evaluation of the argument. This, in fact, becomes your thesis. So, for instance, when we think about Ida B. Wells' article on the malicious white press, we might determine that her argument is a successful evaluation of the bias of the white press, as she points out the fallacies of logic presented in the press itself. Once you've arrived at the thesis, then you can organize your information to be persuasive in your evaluation. So if we remember that analysis is examination by criteria, when we hear rhetorical analysis, we know our criteria is the rhetoric. And so what it is that we're doing is we're evaluating the author, the audience, and the text itself. We're looking at the text itself for the ethical, pathetic, and logical appeals that it makes. Again, we have to determine who is the author, what is his or her credibility, what is the purpose for the writing, and where does it appear in publication. This is often an indication of the evaluation that we will begin in the next slide, audience. Knowing who the audience of an argument is can often help us determine what strategies the author is making to appeal to that audience and whether or not those are in fact successful. While it is important that we contextualize the argument by looking at the expertise of the author and the purpose for tailoring his argument toward a particular audience, the bulk of our examination or analysis is actually of the text itself. What is the evidence presented to the audience? What are the rhetorical strategies the author takes? And are these in fact persuasive? Once we've determined our evaluation of the success of the argument and we have a thesis, we're now ready to begin organizing and structuring our own analysis. For inexperienced writers, this is often one of the most difficult things, so I'm giving you just a really brief and generic outline here that might be helpful. So your introduction should contextualize the argument. Why is the author approaching this argument? What is happening in the public discourse that might make this valuable? Then you want to use your first couple of paragraphs to set the context of the article. Who is the author? What is his or her expertise? What is his or her purpose? The place of publication that will then lead us into a discussion of the audience. But again, the largest portion of our essay will in fact look at the evidence presented in the article. We are analyzing the rhetorical strategies. What is the tone? What are the appeals made? Where are the failures of logic? And finally, in our conclusion, we're going to address our own audience and tell them how to respond to this argument. Should we pay attention to it? Is it important? Are there too many fallacies to make it logical and therefore persuasive? Again, reiterating your overall judgment and evaluation of the argument itself. Okay, just a couple of reminders before you get started. If you struggle at any period, please email me and we can set up an office hour session so that I can be helpful. You may also want to utilize the tutoring sessions at the Center of Writing and Communication, and I've given you the link again here. And remember, if you find yourself experiencing writer's block or paralysis, you might need to take a break, but then come back to the process. Remember that you're walking us through your evaluation, which should be fairly simple. The biggest mistake writers often make in a rhetorical analysis is they forget they're analyzing an argument and begin arguing with the argument. Remember, we do not care about your opinion of the actual topic under argument. What we need is your evaluation of the validity of the argument being made. Okay? That's the biggest thing to remember. As you work through the workshop with your classmates this week, be sure and email as you run into problems. Hopefully you won't, but they do happen. So holler when you need me, and good luck.